The skies above Vah'Duun burned a deep violet as orbital fire slammed into the upper atmosphere. Each impact shook the land like the world itself was caught between titanic hands. Dust drifted from the shattered ceiling of the Temple of Roots, where living pillars, grown over centuries, smoldered with fresh heat scars. Elder Saul felt every tremor in his bones. His crest, once proud and black, had faded to a weary gray. He leaned over the cracked dais, his mandibles shaking with a mix of grief and stubborn resolve. "One more broadcast," he rasped. "Open every channel, every band, every species. Someone must hear." High Speaker Jirala turned sharply. Her blue crest flattened tight against her skull. "No one will come, Elder. The Zhett Imperium warned the entire galaxy to stay neutral. No empire, no enclave. Not even the merchant guilds will risk angering them." Saul's nostrils flared with determination. "Then let history damn their cowardice. Send it." Jirala hesitated only a moment before pressing her palm to the glowing interface. Across Vah'Duun's battered airwaves, a faint psychic hum of fear rippled like a fading heartbeat. The distress call boomed outward, raw, stripped of pride. "To all who hear this message, we are the Vah'Duun. Our world is being exterminated by the Zhett Imperium. We beg for assistance. Coordinates follow." The transmission ended. A long, painful silence followed. Acolyte Wren, young and trembling, peeked from behind a cracked support beam. "What if no one answers? What if it's—" He froze as a new voice cut through the static. Calm, steady, human. "This is the Terran Fleet. Message received. Hold on, Vah'Duun. Help is coming." Jirala's crest shot upward. Terrans? Humans? The nomads with no alliances? The species no one understands? Wren whispered. "I heard they eat live animals. With teeth." "I've heard they don't even have crests," Jirala muttered. Saul didn't know what to believe, but for the first time in days, his chest loosened. "Perhaps," he said softly, "we are saved by the only people strange enough not to fear the Zhett." Far above the planet, Marshal Keth Vor of the Zhett Imperium stared at his sensor displays in confusion. "Identify the incoming vessels," he snapped. His sensor officer frowned behind his armored visor. "Unknown configuration. Their launch signatures are unusual. Their drive wakes are extremely dense." "How dense?" "Dense enough to mimic artificial gravity wells." Before Vor could respond, his display lit up with warnings. Multiple FTL signatures, fast. Space twisted like molten glass, and a dozen angular vessels dropped into real space. Matte black, wedge-shaped, brutalist, Terran. Vor's mandibles curled in disgust. "Humans. The unaligned primitives. Destroy them at once. The galaxy must see the price of interference." He never finished the order. The humans fired first, not a warning shot, not a demand, a surgical execution. White-hot beams sliced Zhett cruisers in half. Tungsten slugs tore through dreadnought armor like paper. Fusion torpedoes streaked across the void, each one a miniature star. The Imperium's first defensive line ceased to exist in 12 seconds. Vor gripped the railing. "Return fire! Scatter formations! I want—" A kinetic round smashed through his flagship's starboard wing. "Marshal!" his officer shouted. "They're firing solutions. It's like they know our maneuvers in advance." "No!" Vor growled. "They don't care what we do." Another human volley struck. The Zhett fleet died like embers in rain. On the surface, the Vah'Duun braced for death until salvation roared down from the clouds. Human dropships, armored and powerful, screamed through the smoke. Their thrusters blasted the ground as their ramps slammed open. Humans emerged. Tall, armored in matte gray with glowing blue visors, every movement measured, controlled, dangerous. The lead human swept her rifle across the horizon. When she spoke, her translator produced flawless Vah'Duun. "Civilians, stay behind us. We're here to help." Ren whispered, awestruck. Their faces. So flat. So smooth. No crest. How do they show emotion? "Maybe they don't," Jirala murmured. Elder Sal stepped forward. "You came. Why? No one else dared." The human commander turned her masked head. "Because you asked." "That is enough." "It should be." A sharp crack echoed. Zhett sniper fire striking a dropship hull. Commander Ray Turner pointed toward the ruins. "Hostile contact. Fire teams Echo and Delta. Advance. Suppress. Civilians. Fall back." What followed was not a battle. It was annihilation through precision. Human squads advanced with perfect coordination. Shields absorbed glancing hits. Rifles barked in efficient bursts, each one a kill. Drones marked targets for smart munitions. Grenades bounced with perfect arcs, flushing Zett troopers into waiting fire. In 8 minutes, it was over. Ren exhaled shakily. "I thought humans were primitive." "They are," Jirala whispered. "Something else." Hours later, while medics cared for civilians and engineers stabilized the temple, Elder Sal found Commander Turner standing alone, helmet off, letting the cool wind touch her face. She looked ordinary. Tired. Human. But her eyes were sharp and unwavering. "You saved us," Sal said quietly. "Tell us what you require. Tribute, alliance, technology. We have little, but we will give all we can." Turner shook her head. "We want nothing." Jirala blinked. "That is not how the galaxy works." "Maybe the galaxy is wrong," Turner replied. "Call it a human flaw." "Then why come at all?" Sal asked. "The Zett rule, half the spiral arm." Turner sighed. "My people are tired of watching bullies burn worlds while everyone else argues about procedure. Someone had to show the Imperium that terror is brittle." "Will they retaliate?" Jirala asked. "Absolutely," she said with a tired smile. "Bullies always do." "Then why provoke them?" Turner gestured toward her soldiers, treating children, repairing shelters, offering food. "Because someone had to." Ren approached. "Commander, what should we tell the galaxy? They'll want a reason." Turner's smile sharpened. "Tell them humanity is done staying quiet." "Is this a declaration?" Jirala asked. "It's a warning," Turner said. "To anyone who thinks slaughtering civilians is acceptable." A communications officer ran up. "Commander, all hostile signatures eliminated. Orbit is clear." "Good." Turner straightened. "Prep the jump. Transmit the message." The human message spread like wildfire across the galaxy. "To all species and sovereign powers. The Terran Fleet will no longer stand by while innocents die. We do not seek conquest or tribute. We seek a galaxy where people can live without fear. If you threaten the helpless, expect us." Within minutes, empires panicked. A minor species destroyed a Zett armada. "This violates power accords. Humanity must be contained." But on oppressed worlds, quiet voices whispered. Someone fought the Imperium, and won. Humanity's emergence had rewritten every assumption, not with diplomacy, not with threats, but with decisive action. The Terran Fleet lifted from Vah'Duun, engines glowing like lined stars. Then, with a thunderous rip, they vanished into FTL. The sound rolled across the desert like a promise, or a warning. As the dust settled, Vah'Duun survivors looked up at a calmer sky. Emergency lights flickered across the temple's routes. Ren stood beside Elder Sal. "Do you think they'll come back?" Perhaps not soon, Sal said. Perhaps not often. Jirala spoke softly. But when another world calls for help, I believe they'll answer. Sa'al nodded. A new force moves among the stars, not guided by greed or empire, something different. Humans? Wren asked. Sa'al smiled faintly. No, something more unusual than that. He looked toward the horizon where the human ships had vanished. Justice. Across the spiral arm, millions whispered a new truth. The quiet ones had spoken, and the galaxy would never be quiet again.